Subscribe to my YouTube channel, share it with your friends, and comment your thoughts. The room went dead silent. Paddles slowly lowered. The auctioneer's gavel hovered mid-air, frozen. It was as if the air itself refused to move. All eyes turned to the woman in the back row, the one no one had spoken to all evening, the one who hadn't said a single word since entering, her presence quieter than a sigh. She was dressed plainly, a faded grey coat, scuffed leather boots, and no makeup. Not a diamond or designer label in sight, just an old leather handbag in her lap, and an expression no one could read. Lot 187, going once, going twice. The auctioneer stammered, unsure if what he was seeing was real. The woman raised her paddle again, her hand steady. A moment passed, then the gavel came down with a sharp crack. "Sold," the auctioneer said, almost in disbelief. "To paddle. Number 214, a ripple of gasps followed, even a few nervous chuckles. She had won the bid. Lot 187 wasn't just a regular item, it was the Callahan estate. A sprawling cliffside mansion with a dark history and a price tag that had made several wealthy investors back out. The very fact that it was even up for public auction was its own scandal. Blake Callahan, the billionaire shipping tycoon, had disappeared 3 years ago under suspicious circumstances. Some claimed he'd run. Others said he was dead. No body, no proof, just silence. Now the estate, all 60,000 square feet of it, belonged to a stranger who hadn't even spoken a word. No one clapped. No one moved. They just stared. Who was? She? How could she afford this? And why did she want it? No one had any answers. Yet, 30 minutes later, the large glass doors of the auction house slid shut behind her. Anna stepped out into the evening fog, the crisp air stinging her cheeks. The official documents were clutched tightly in her hands, proof that she now owned the Callahan estate. $6.5 million. Cash. She hadn't blinked when the transfer went through. She couldn't afford to. The money had been years in the making. Quiet investments under false names, hidden assets left behind by a mother who taught her how to disappear, and the silent help of a man who now owed her nothing but guilt. A stranger approached her outside the auction house. Early 50s, tailored coat, sharp eyes. He lit a cigarette with the kind of calm only old money carried. "You just changed a lot of people's plans," he said, blowing smoke toward the sky. She didn't respond. "You're not from here." "Are you?" he pressed. "Nobody's ever seen you. No one even knew you were bidding until you raised that paddle." "I didn't come to be seen," Anna replied, her voice steady. "Then why'd you come?" "To finish something," she said. "Something that should have ended a long time ago." And with that, she walked away. 3 months earlier. Hospital. Room 214. The clock ticked slowly on the wall. The machines beeped with mechanical coldness. Anna sat beside her sister's bed, gripping Emily's hand. The once fierce journalist now looked like a shell, pale, bruised, fighting for every breath. "I have to tell you something," Emily whispered. "About the estate." Anna leaned in. "Don't speak. Save your energy." "No, you need to hear this." Emily's eyes welled up with pain. Not just physical, but the kind that comes from betrayal. "She didn't fall, Anna. They pushed her." "Who?" Anna asked sharply. "Emily who?" But Emily only coughed, her voice dissolving into a whisper of air. "They're watching, even now." Then her body arched, her eyes widened, and the heart monitor flatlined. Anna screamed for help. Nurses rushed in, but it was too late. The last thing her sister ever said became the seed that rooted itself deep inside Anna's soul. She didn't fall. They pushed her, and with that, the fire inside her ignited. Present day, the gate of the Callahan estate. The iron gates groaned open with a sound like dying metal. Anna stood still for a moment, her breath catching in her throat. The estate loomed ahead, massive and ghostly. Ivy had swallowed half the stone walls. The windows were dusty and dark. The air smelled like wet leaves and secrets. She stepped inside. With each step, she felt her sister's presence, the ghost of her voice, the echo of laughter now forever silenced. The last known GPS ping on Emily's phone had been just outside this estate, hours before she was found broken and dying at the bottom of Greystone Cliff. Anna wasn't here for revenge. She was here for answers. Though she knew, sometimes, they were the same thing. Inside the estate, the front door creaked shut behind her, trapping her in a silence so thick it felt alive. She walked slowly, flashlight in hand. The grand hallway stretched endlessly, lined with portraits that seemed to watch her. Dust clung to everything. Cobwebs veiled chandeliers. It was like the house had been waiting, not just for an owner, but for a reckoning. She entered a parlor. A broken piano sat in the corner, keys yellowed with age. A single teacup remained on the table, untouched, like someone had meant to return. Her flashlight flickered, then died. She froze, and that's when she heard it. Soft footsteps. Upstairs. Anna's blood ran cold. "Hello," she called, voice firm. No answer. She slowly backed out of the room and reached into her coat, fingers wrapping around the small revolver she hadn't wanted to use, but would, if she had to. Town cafe. Next morning. "Have you seen her?" the waitress asked. "The sheriff. The woman who bought the Callahan place? She's been there 2 nights. No calls, no visitors, no lights," the sheriff replied. "Don't you think that's strange?" He sipped his coffee, eyes fixed on the fog-shrouded hill. Strange. Things happen in that house. What kind of things? The sheriff didn't answer. Instead, he got up, dropped a 20 on the table, and walked out. The waitress watched him leave, uneasy. Locals didn't talk about the estate, not because they didn't know what happened, but because too many of them did. Back at the estate, Anna found the study the next evening. Something had drawn her to it, a sense, maybe, or the faint scent of perfume lingering too long. She brushed dust from a bookshelf, her hand catching on something sharp. She pulled. A book slid out, behind it a switch. Click, a hidden compartment opened, revealing an old, rusted tin box. She opened it slowly. Inside were dozens of photographs, old, blurry, but some recent. Her hands trembled as she sifted through them, and stopped cold. There was a picture of her sister, Emily, standing just outside this very estate, smiling, alive, but she wasn't alone. In the background stood a woman, half-turned, unrecognizable, until Anna looked up at the painting above the fireplace. It was the same woman, Clarissa Callahan, wife of Blake, presumed dead, supposedly killed in a car crash 2 years before Blake vanished. So why was she in the photo with Emily? Months ago. Anna's heart pounded. She flipped the picture over. Written on the back, "They know, trust no one, especially the one who smiles." The photo had been dated 2 days before Emily's accident. Then something caught her eye. Another photo. Of the same scene, only this one showed a reflection in the glass of the estate window. Anna leaned closer, squinting. Her breath caught. The reflection showed a man standing behind Clarissa and Emily. Blake Callahan, alive, watching, final. Cliffhanger. Anna sat on the floor of the study, surrounded by photographs and lies. Her mind raced. If Blake was alive, if Clarissa had been with Emily, then her sister didn't just find out something dangerous. She got too close. A draft blew through the room. Anna stood, slowly. Then, a creak. From the hallway, she grabbed her flashlight and opened the study door. Nothing. But on the floor outside her door, fresh mud led down the hallway. Away from her. She hadn't tracked that in. Someone else was here, and they didn't want her to find the truth. The trail of mud was fresh, still wet, still smeared. Someone had walked down that hall after she entered the study, maybe even while she was inside. Anna stared at the floor, her heart pulsing in her throat. The beam of her flashlight shook in her hand as she followed the footprints, step by cautious step, past the old dining hall, past the cracked mirror in the corridor, and toward the servants' wing of the house, a part she hadn't entered yet. The hallway grew colder, narrower, the ceilings lower. And then the footprints stopped, right outside a locked wooden door. She tried the knob. It didn't budge. A whisper rose in the dark. Anna froze. It wasn't a sound she imagined. It was real. It had come from behind the door. A whisper. One word. Anna, her name, whispered like a warning or a welcome. She took a step back, pulling out the revolver from her coat. "Who's there?" she demanded, her voice steadier than she felt. No reply, just silence. She took another step back, careful not to make noise, and then, bang! The door rattled violently as if something had thrown itself against it from the other side. Anna didn't scream. She turned and ran, back through the hallway, through the foyer, back into the grand room with the staircase that curled up into the dark. She didn't stop running until she was out the front door, out into the foggy night air, gasping like she'd just escaped drowning, because, in a way, she had something. Someone was still in that house. Later that night, town motel. Anna sat cross-legged on the motel bed, photos spread across the blanket, replaying the moment again and again. The whisper, the footprints, the locked door, and then the memory of the voice. She hadn't told anyone her name at the auction, no introductions, no interviews. Not a single person had spoken to her directly, so how had whoever, or whatever, was behind that door known? She flipped one of the photos again. Clarissa Callahan, alive, standing beside her sister. But no records showed Clarissa's survival. Publicly, she'd been declared dead 2 years before Blake vanished. Something felt off. Then she spotted it, scribbled in red ink on the bottom corner of the photo, tiny, almost hidden. "Meet me where she fell." A location. Greystone Cliff, where Emily's body had been found, broken, bruised, and blamed on an accidental fall. Anna's stomach turned. She'd gone to the morgue herself, seen the bruises around her sister's wrists, the defensive cuts on her arms, the signs no one had dared document. She hadn't fallen. She'd been thrown. Now someone was asking Anna to go back to that exact place. She didn't sleep that night, but she charged her flashlight, loaded the revolver, and drove out before dawn. Greystone Cliff, 5:47 a.m. The wind howled across the cliffside. The early sky was bruised purple, streaked with orange. Anna parked and stepped out, boots crunching across gravel and old dead leaves. The cliff loomed ahead, a jagged scar in the landscape. Far below, the ocean roared like a buried truth trying to claw its way up. Anna walked slowly to the edge. Her sister had died here. Her last known location. The supposed accident. A voice called out behind her. "You're early." Anna turned, gun raised. But she didn't shoot. Standing behind her, half in shadow, was a woman, dark coat, hood pulled low, voice like iron wrapped in silk. "I assume you're the one who left the note?" Anna asked. The woman nodded. "I didn't expect you to show. I came for the truth." "You're standing on it," the woman said bitterly. "But people like Blake Callahan have a way of hiding things, even bodies, in plain sight." Anna narrowed her eyes. "You knew him?" The woman stepped closer. "I knew all of them." She pulled down her hood. Anna's breath caught. It was Clarissa Callahan, a little older, thinner, eyes hollow with grief or guilt. But alive, very much alive. The truth comes in pieces. Clarissa didn't waste time with small talk. "They said I died in a car crash," she began. "That was a lie. Blake faked it, said it would protect me. In reality, it protected him. From what? From me exposing what he was doing and what our estate was being used for. Anna stared. Which was? Clarissa laughed bitterly. Smuggling, drugs, antiques, people. You name it. He used the tunnels beneath the estate, the ones no one talks about, the same ones Emily found. Anna's heart dropped. She found the tunnels? She asked. She emailed me. Said she needed a second source to publish her story. Said she had photos, evidence. I told her to meet me, privately, but someone got to her first. Clarissa looked away, her voice cracking. She was brave, and she died for it. Anna's grip on the revolver tightened. You've been hiding for years, she said coldly. And now you show up with the truth? Clarissa's eyes burned. I tried to go public. They killed my brother, burned down my lawyer's house. They will destroy anyone who speaks. But you bought the estate. That means something. It gives you leverage. Anna didn't answer. Not yet. The underground later that day, Anna returned to the estate, this time not as a guest but as a hunter. She searched every wall, every cellar, every floorboard, until she found what she was looking for. A hidden latch behind a false cabinet in the wine cellar. It opened to a narrow staircase leading underground, the tunnels. She descended slowly, flashlight cutting through the thick, dark stone walls, steel doors, old crates, and deeper in, plastic bins filled with sealed evidence bags marked with foreign stamps and customs labels, photographs, passports, stolen art. Anna felt sick. This was what Emily had uncovered, and it had cost her everything. She pulled out her phone to document it all. But the battery flickered, then died. That's when the voice spoke again. Anna. Right behind her, she turned, gun up, no one, just the darkness. Then footsteps. Running, she chased them down the corridor, around a bend, and stopped. Someone was standing in the final chamber, male, tall, face shadowed by the hanging lights. Anna stepped forward, heart hammering. Blake Callahan? The man stepped into the light, smiling, but it wasn't Blake, it was Warren, the man from outside the auction house, the one who'd lit the cigarette, the one who'd said, "You just changed a lot of people's plans." "You," Anna whispered. Warren grinned. "I told you to trust no one, but you never asked the right question." "Which is, who invited you to bid?" Her breath caught. I didn't think. No one gets access to that estate, unless we want them to." Anna raised the gun. "Back up," but he didn't. He only smiled wider. "You think you're exposing something?" "No, you're a piece in a game you don't understand." Anna's hand shook. "If you kill me," she said, "the story still gets out. I've sent files, names, everything." His smile faded, a beat of silence. Then Warren turned and ran, out of the tunnel. Anna chased him, but by the time she reached the exit, he was gone. Disappeared into the woods behind the estate. But he'd made one mistake. He'd confirmed it. They had let her buy the estate, which meant they were planning to use her or destroy her. Final cliffhanger. Anna sat alone in the study again that night. Clarissa was gone. Vanished after their meeting. No call, no text. Her number disconnected. Anna stared at the documents she'd scanned, the photos, the maps of the tunnel, the old Callahan shipping manifests, and then her email pinged. One new message, subject line, "You're next." She clicked one image, blurry, black and white, a surveillance photo of Anna standing at the cliff's edge from that morning, taken from the trees. She hadn't been alone. Someone had been watching her, just like they watched Emily, just like they were watching now. Her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. "We warned her." She didn't listen. "Will you?" Anna didn't reply. Instead, she whispered to the dark, "I'm not my sister." And then she whispered louder. To the ghosts, the lies, and the shadows around her, "I'm worse." It rained the next morning. Not the soft, cleansing kind. the kind that hit the roof like footsteps and made shadows move in windows that hadn't been touched in years. Anna hadn't slept. She hadn't spoken to anyone since the threat. She didn't call the police. She didn't go online. She just sat at the estate's massive dining room table, staring at the surveillance photo that had been emailed to her, the one of her standing at Greystone Cliff, the one no one else should have been able to take. They knew where she was. They knew what she was doing, and they were letting it happen. But the question still tortured her. Why? Why her? 13 a.m. The first clue, she found it in a letter. It was tucked into a false bottom of Emily's old leather-bound journal, buried. Among half-burned notes and sketches of the tunnels, Anna opened it carefully. It was addressed to her. To Anna. If you're reading this, I didn't tell you everything. Not because I didn't trust you. Because I didn't want them to know you knew. If something happens to me, go to the East Wing, the bedroom with the blue door. Pull the mirror off the wall. There's more than just tunnels beneath this house. There's a memory no one erased. Anna stared at the letter, hands trembling. It wasn't just an investigation to Emily, it was protection. The room behind the mirror. Anna climbed the East Wing staircase with every nerve on edge. The rain outside blurred the windows. The air in the hallway felt heavier, like the house itself was watching. She found the blue door. Room 26. It looked untouched. Dust everywhere, sheets still covering the furniture. She walked in slowly. The mirror was ornate, gilded and wide. She grabbed both sides and pulled. Nothing. Then a click. She twisted it clockwise. Another click. Then with a soft groan, the mirror swung open like a door. Behind it was a hidden passageway. No stairs, no dirt. No mold, just a clean hallway, and at the end, a metal elevator. Anna stepped inside and pressed the single, unmarked button. It dropped fast, then stopped. The forgotten floor. The doors opened to a long, sterile hallway lined with glass doors. Each one revealed something different: archives, surveillance rooms, server racks, and finally, a room labeled Observation. Anna stepped inside. What she saw made her knees buckle. Photos, footage, maps, recordings of her, of Emily, of Blake, Callahan, even Clarissa. They'd been watching all of them for years. A wall of monitors blinked on automatically. Some showed live views of the estate. Others showed her motel room, her car. Even inside her apartment back in the city, she staggered back. This wasn't just a crime ring. It was a system. Someone had eyes everywhere. And then a voice came from behind her. "I told you not to come back." Anna spun. It was Clarissa, Clarissa's confession. Clarissa didn't look surprised to see her. In fact, she looked exhausted, as if she'd known this confrontation was inevitable. Anna raised the gun. "You said they tried to kill you." "They did, but you're still working with them." Clarissa stepped forward, arms raised, not afraid. "I'm surviving, Anna. The Callahan legacy is filth, but it's powerful filth. If you fight it head-on, you lose. I made a deal to stay alive." "A deal that got my sister killed?" Clarissa didn't answer. Instead, she walked over to a terminal and turned on the oldest monitor. Emily's face appeared, a video recording, her last known footage. Clarissa played it. In it, Emily was in the tunnels, whispering into the camera. "Something happens to me. It wasn't an accident. I found something, a name, the one behind everything, not Blake, not even Clarissa. It's Warren. He's not who he says he is. If I don't make it, tell Anna I love her. And I'm sorry." The screen went black. Clarissa looked at Anna, her voice low. "I didn't kill your sister. Warren did." Anna's heart dropped. But he wasn't working for the Callahans. He was working against them. He was one of the original beneficiaries. He's the one who brokered the estate deals, the tunnels, the surveillance, even the auction. Anna backed away. "You're lying," Clarissa's voice cracked. "I wish I was." The truth about Warren had never just been a bodyguard or a hired gun. He was the shadow behind the Callahan fortune. He didn't work for Blake. Blake worked for him. He'd been pulling the strings for decades, erasing people, planting stories, controlling which heirs rose and which ones disappeared. And now, Anna was in his web. Clarissa opened a file drawer and handed Anna a birth certificate. Anna's name was on it, so was Emily's, and a third name, Warren Miles, listed as primary. Guardian of record. Anna couldn't breathe. Why would he? "He wasn't your guardian," Clarissa whispered. "He was your biological father." Silence, the kind that crushes. Anna felt the floor give way beneath her. Everything shifts. Warren wasn't just behind the estate's secrets. He had built it, through lies, through blood, through betrayal. He had orchestrated Anna's adoption after killing their mother in a staged accident. He had manipulated Emily's trust, and when she found out the truth, he silenced her. Clarissa had been part of the estate's inner circle, but when she tried to expose it, Warren faked her death too. He never killed unless it was necessary, until... "Emily," Anna stared at the certificate again. "This isn't real." "It is," Clarissa said quietly. "He always said you'd come back someday, that you'd try to take it all. But he didn't expect you to come for justice. He thought you'd want power." Anna dropped the gun, not because she was weak, but because something deeper was burning inside her now. Something cold, a new plan. That night, Anna packed up everything from the hidden floor. Hard drives, tapes, documents. She moved in silence. She didn't cry. She didn't shake. She was done reacting. Now it was her turn to act. She made one phone call, not to the police, not to a lawyer, to someone who hated Warren more than she did. His first abandoned child from another life, a half-brother she'd never met, but who lived in Europe. A whistleblower who'd spent years hiding. His name was Ethan, and he'd been waiting for someone to finish what he started. Anna's voice was clear. "I have everything. Are you in?" On the other end, a long pause, then, "Yes, but we won't survive this unless you're willing to lose everything." Anna stared at herself in the mirror across the room. "I already have." Final cliffhanger at midnight, Anna. Returned to the cliff. Not to mourn this time, to leave a message. She placed one of Warren's old surveillance cameras on the edge, pointing toward the ocean. Then she whispered into it, "You want the estate? Take it. You want me silenced? You already tried. You killed my sister and you lied to me my entire life." She stepped back, lit a match, and threw it onto a trail of gasoline she had poured around the estate's outer buildings. The fire caught. The trees ignited. The estate was beginning to burn. And Anna, she walked away into the darkness, one message sent to Warren's encrypted inbox. "Next time we meet, it won't be in your house. It'll be in court or the grave. Your daughter, the Callahan estate was still smoldering. News crews hovered like vultures, hungry for answers about the fire. The headlines read like fiction. Billionaire heir's estate burns. Police investigating arson. Silent auction winner vanishes after estate erupts in scandal. Former heiress linked to underground surveillance network, but Anna was nowhere to be found. Not yet, because the real trial hadn't started. It wasn't the estate that needed judgment. It was Warren Miles, her father. 6 weeks later, the grand jury room. Washington, D.C. Anna sat in the front row, hair pulled back, face unreadable. Across from her, Warren, still smug, still immaculate, still untouchable. But this time, he was the one handcuffed. They had him on more than just surveillance violations. Anna and Ethan had leaked documents proving offshore accounts, blackmail rings, even political influence bought through Callahan shell companies. The FBI took it seriously. The IRS took it personally. Still, Warren acted like it was temporary. Like all trials were illusions, he didn't look at Anna. Not until she stood to testify. Anna's testimony Her voice was calm. She read directly from a prepared statement. My name is Anna Miles, and until 6 weeks ago I believed I was no one. I believed I had no family, no future, no power. That's exactly how Warren Miles wanted it. But then he made a mistake. He let someone love me. My sister Emily. She left a trail he didn't expect. A heartbeat after her death. And I followed it all the way back here. He told the world he was a businessman, that the estate auction was about rebirth. But behind every door in that mansion was a woman who had vanished, a child who'd been silenced, a secret camera in every room. I'm not here for revenge. I'm here to end his illusion. There was no applause, just silence, thick, heavy, unmovable. Warren finally raised his head, his face pale. He had underestimated her. Again, deal or die back. In the hallway, federal agents approached Anna. We've got enough to bury him, the lead agent said, but he's offering a plea. He'll give up control of every Callahan shell company, offshore funds, in exchange for house arrest. Anna's stomach twisted. House arrest, for everything he did. The agent sighed. He's smart. No fingerprints on half the crimes. But the financial paper trail, that's where he's vulnerable. Anna stepped aside, dialed a number. Clarissa answered on the third ring. You heard? Yes, Clarissa replied. He always finds a way to squirm out. Not this time, Anna said quietly. I want him alive. Clarissa was silent. Then, why? Anna's voice cracked. Because if he dies, people forget. But if he lives, in disgrace, powerless, watched every day, that's justice. And Emily deserves justice. 6 months later, Callahan's empire crumbles. Warren's assets were frozen, his properties seized, his mansion turned into a public museum, the Callahan Files, a symbolic nail in the legacy's coffin. Anna didn't keep a cent. She turned her share into a survivor fund for the women who'd been silenced, trafficked, or discredited by the Callahan network. She gave them names, backstories, voice. Some of them even remembered Emily. She once bought me a winter coat, one woman said, crying. She said, I'm not allowed to help, but I'll find a way. Anna didn't cry. She couldn't, not yet. The final letter one morning, a brown envelope arrived at her apartment. No return address. Inside, a single letter, written in Emily's handwriting. If you're reading this, you did it. You went where I couldn't. I always knew you would. You were the quiet one. But I used to watch how you noticed things, how you remembered people's birthdays, even the ones who didn't matter to anyone else. That's why I never burned this letter, because you weren't born to destroy the world. You were born to remake it. Anna held it for a long time, then folded it into her coat pocket and went outside. The quiet auction winner. Reclaimed, reporters still whispered about her. The silent girl who bought the Callahan estate and burned it to ashes. But she didn't care. She didn't need to explain anymore, because her power didn't come from headlines or inheritance. It came from truth, from every step she took without shaking, from every broken thing she picked up and rebuilt. Final scene. Emily's tree. Behind what was left of the estate, near the cliff. Anna planted a tree, a white pine, the same kind Emily used to draw as a child. She placed a plaque in front of it for those who vanished, for those who found their voice. In memory of Emily Grace Miles, as the sun broke through the clouds, Anna stood there, alone, no cameras, no threats, just wind, sky, and silence. The silence she had once been buried by, now her freedom, and she smiled, because sometimes the quietest voice is the one that changes everything. The end.